Class, welcome to week 12. We're on the home stretch now. As I mentioned, these last few weeks are pretty involved. Week 13 will definitely be the busiest, the most intense week of the course. Week 12 is certainly involved. You'll have project 4 due this week. But our focus is on social media and social networking. This is obviously going to play a huge component to any marketing scheme for online business. You could do an entire course in social media marketing. We won't get that involved. We'll just cover the basics. And we'll first talk about how social media relates to search engine optimization. And then we'll do an introduction to social networking, which talks more specifically about the actual platforms you want to use for your business. So we'll jump in first to social media for search engine optimization. There's a lot of information here on how social media success relates to search engine optimization. There is a correlation between the two. You can't get on there and post a bunch of links to your website and do well on search engine optimization. It's not that quite simple of a process, but more interactions on social media does correlate to more success in search engine optimization. And so there's some strategies, some tips and tricks on here for how to be successful. And really all you'll do in this assignment is describe your social media optimization plan and form short-term and long-term goals based on these instructions. I won't go into a lot of detail. Social media is ubiquitous today. You use it, you're familiar with it. These will just get into the details of how to leverage that for your business. Make sure you include how you will measure your success. This is a great question to ask as you're forming any new wing of your business, any new wing of your marketing plan. You got to know how you're going to measure success. Otherwise, you're just going to be doing it to do it. You've got to think about what's going to make it successful and how to measure that so that you get feedback. There's so many things you can do when owning your own business and so many ways you can promote it. And they'll all flame out in a short amount of time if you don't measure that success to get feedback on whether or not it's worthwhile. And that's what social media is. Social media, you can launch a great campaign on social media and engage with customers, and it'll flame out if you don't have specific measures to say, yeah, this is successful, this is working, I want to keep doing it. And so that second part of that assignment is really crucial, thinking about how you'll measure success. We'll get into social networking. The course uses the term social media versus social networking. They're essentially the same thing. We're trying to distinguish between two different assignments. The first one is just a broad view of social media, how it relates to search engine optimization, how it can be included in your marketing plan. The social networking assignment is to get you into the specific platforms that you might use. And so the videos and readings are about what platforms may be effective for you. And so what we want you to do here is list 4 social media sites on which you can market your website. There's plenty of options. You've got kind of classic, more established social networking sites like Facebook or Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat isn't as popular lately, I notice, but certainly an option. Pinterest, LinkedIn. There's a lot of different platforms you can use. Think about 4 social media sites, the pros and cons of each. There's different demographics of each. Facebook is you're going to capture a slightly older demographic on Facebook. You're going to capture a slightly more female demographic on Pinterest. And so think about your customer, your ideal customer, and where they're going to spend their time. Is it on TikTok? Is it on Twitter? And that's where you can help narrow down what you want to spend your time on. Then you'll choose one of those social media sites and explain the specific steps that you would take to market your website. Be creative. This is where your business comes to life. Your Google Ads will be interesting and fun, I hope, but you don't get a ton of opportunity to put personality into that. You do on social media. This is where your company has a heartbeat. You have a soul. You have someone behind the logo, and they get to know who you are. And that is the great advantage to social media is you become less of the sort of um, standard corporate mantra that people think of companies or corporations, and you get to show them who you are, and you got to have fun. You get to engage with potential customers, and so social media can be really fun for an online business, but you got to choose the right platform. You got to have an intentional approach. You got to understand how you're going to engage with your customers. And that will be it for this week's assignment. Trying to keep it simple. You have project 4 that's due, so you're going to be plenty involved with that. I don't think these 2 assignments are 2 of the more complex we do. They're just simple essays. Get you thinking a little bit about social media. Week 13 is going to be a little bit more involved, as I mentioned, and so yeah, you'll have plenty to do between project 4 and then your week 13 assignments. But if you'd like to discuss anything around social media, or if you're looking at project 4, you haven't started it yet, that's one that's not so time intensive as far as the analysis or the inputs, kind of like what we did in project 1 or 2. But it is time intensive in the sense that you've got to start and run that campaign for a period of time, pause it, and then run it for a second period of time. So if you're listening to this video, you haven't done project 4 yet, now is the time to jump on that and make sure you're up and running with it. So that will be it for this week, and we'll gear up for week 13 next week. Thanks, everyone.